Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So if you've been following along with my Coyote Swap Fox turbo build, I'm at the point because I have a stock Gen 2 motor. It's got valve springs and oil pump gears, but we're starting to push this thing, I think, at its limit or a little bit beyond it to see if we can hit sevens. But it's been 830 so far and we're upping the boost. We're putting a new converter in it and all that to try to go seven. So I figured for a safety measure, it was about time that I put a engine diaper on it. I got this Motion Raceworks engine diaper for the Coyote. It's got, you know, the cutouts and all that for motor mounts. A lot of events that I'm starting to see are now requiring these engine diapers, but not only that, I don't want this thing to scatter the motor as I'm going through the quarter at, you know, 165 plus miles an hour. That would be bad. So this thing, I can run events now that I wanted to run, plus it's a safety measure. So we'll go ahead and see how this thing fits, get it on, and show you the process.
All right, so now that I've got the car up in the air, first thing I have to do is kind of figure out how I want this diaper to sit and move around, you know, all the stuff that's got under here. A couple of guys have asked me, I'll just go ahead and talk about that, what changes that I've made to this On3 kit. For the past, year and a half, 2 years, I ran it just as is. Here recently that I put the 86 millimeter on it, the only things I've really changed is I took that bellow out. Never had any problems with it, but now that I'm gonna start racing the car, I don't want, you know, I've seen, and you know, not on the On3 kits, but I've had buddies that have had other kits that have blew a hole in that and, you know, lose boost. So, you know, I put a piece of another straight pipe on there, and the only other thing I've changed, if you can see, I put these quick clamps on there because for the same reason, I don't want to, you know, get down to the final round or be racing and a clamp, you know, blows off and it causes, you know, me to lose the race. So anyways, that is the only changes. This kit is how it is as you buy it from On3, besides those small changes. And I just made those when I put the 86 on. So that 830s pass that I made was as the kit was as you buy it from On3. But anyways, so I'll go ahead and show you this diaper, and then I'll go ahead and show you under here what we're gonna have to kind of maneuver around, and then we'll start trying to fit it up and go from there.
So all right, as you can see with this diaper, I got the one with the, you know, motor mount cutouts, and it also, at the very back of it, it has, you know, these straps that go through right here that you can use to cinch it down so the flex plate or whatever is not rubbing it. So it also has, you know, this that goes on the inside to help sop up, you know, any oil or any fluids and all that. But that's it. And I think they say it's made of Kevlar, so hopefully it should contain a rod or anything that tries to come through it. And then the main thing is going to get where, you know, I bolt these to. I'll show you kind of under the car now and under the motor how we're going to mount it. They make one of these, I believe, that doesn't have the motor mount cutouts for if you run a motor plate, but you know, I've got motor mounts on this. So let's go ahead and look up under the car and see what we got to do and what we got to work with.
All right, so underneath the car, the only thing I'm gonna really have to contend with, so I put my oil drain for the turbo on the front of the oil pan. So when that, you know, diaper comes up, may give me a little trouble. I mean, it's nothing from Motion Raceworks. It's just where I put this. A lot of guys put them, you know, in the side or whatever. I had the room, so I put it in the front. So I'll have to kind of maneuver around that. And then my, you know, oil pan is very close to my K-member. I mean, you could probably slide a piece of paper through it, so I'll have to undo the motor mounts just a hair, lift the motor up, and slide that diaper through. And then the next thing is like figuring out where to bolt it to. There's bolts. I could use the, you know, the timing cover. I could use a lot of that. So that's where we're at. I'll have to kind of set it down, and the next problem, and I wouldn't say problem, is figure out once the diaper comes around here, got some Need to tighten some of these. Where to bolt it to, I mean, maybe right here, or also use the motor mount. Over here is going to be tight, but it's made for this, so we'll see. All right, so it's hard for me to video under here, so I didn't do it, but I sat the car on these wooden platforms, and I kind of had to undo the motor mounts a little bit and basically put a piece of wood under here with a jack and kind of slightly, hopefully, you know, so I didn't bend the oil pan, you know, lift the motor up so this diaper comes through where the K-member and the oil pan, because that, you know, as I showed you earlier, that was pretty tight. So I'll go ahead and lift it up in the air, and we'll go ahead and start seeing how this thing fits. I've got, you can kind of see it right there. It's kind of got that, where that heat shield bolts in, is where I've got this backside one bolted in. And then on the front, usually I think a pulley goes right there. I'll show you from the top side. But I've got this front side, so what I got to figure out now is somewhere in here to this backside where I'm going to bolt that. And then same thing with the front side over here. I've got to figure out somewhere over here. So that's what we got. All right, so I'll give you a little update. So these come on each side, and obviously this is what, you know, bolts the four corners of the block or wherever you can find, and this is what you use to strap down. So I had to change the orientation of these. I think there's 2 90s and 2 straights. So I had to like move the straights around and move the 90s around to the corners. That worked for me, and I'll kind of show you. So this one up here, you can see right here, I had to put a 90 on here. I put a 90 on the back passenger side. I put a straight, you can see it right here, on the back driver's side. And what I'm dealing with now is trying to find a spot up in there. So I need to really get a, you know, one of the sandwich plates and one of the oil filter relocation, but I have this brass fitting because it feeds my autometer oil pressure gauge, my oil pressure gauge for the Holly, and then it feeds my turbo. So it's kind of getting in the way. Nothing that's Motion's fault, like the oil filter housing. So I'm going to try to find something up here to get this somewhat tight. It's going to have a little bit of slop right here, but the rest of it back here and how tight it is actually fits pretty damn good. So that's where I'm at. Now I got to find a spot for this thing. All right, so I got that last one on. Again, it's not great, but I used, you can see there's a bolt on the head right up in there that I bolted it to. So this is about the only kind of slop in the thing, or whatever you're gonna call it. It's kind, I wouldn't say it's loose, but it's got a little bit of, but also it's because of right here. So, but all in all right there, it's tight back here, plenty of room. And then up there, I gotta move these lines out of the way. Fits pretty good. Got the straps that go across to hold it. So not bad. All right, so hopefully that helps anybody that wants to put this Motion Raceworks engine diaper on their Coyote. Obviously, your setup may differ a little bit from mine, and you can use different, you know, mounting locations. That's just the way I did this one. But it's a good fit, and now there's a lot of events, like I said before, I'm seeing they're requiring these, so this allows me to get into those. So all in all, good fitting product. Stay tuned to the channel because we're going to start racing and try to go in the 7s. Thanks for watching.